Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Last night, when I was reading Ganing, which is a Robert Munch story, to Vyasa, in between the story, he says, Pitashi, can I tell you something? Yes, Vyasa, tell me. Did you know that there's no napping in kindergarten? And he was sharing this because he knows today's his graduation from daycare. And in September, he will be starting junior kindergarten, and there's no napping. Sadly, the graduation today is virtual. Matters are still in lockdown in Ontario. And this made me think about all of the graduations we've gone through together. Meaningful Mornings started on a Thursday. Today is a Thursday. We started on March 19th, the first day of spring in 2020. We completed a spring semester, a summer semester, an autumn semester, a winter semester, and we just completed another spring semester. Now we're starting our summer semester. Have you made the habit of being grateful? Have you developed the vasana of feeling bhagya? As we're about to complete 400 mornings of meaning, meaningful should be associated with grateful. Meaningful should be associated with divinity. Is this your habit now? Is this your vasana? I pray yes, because who knows if we're going to be around for another 400 mornings, for another 5 seasons. Our constant review. Verse 47, Ma te sangostu akarmani. No inaction. Ma karma phalahetur bhuhu. No selfishness. In verse 47, when we approach this backwards from the fourth quarter to the first quarter, this is actually going in relevancy also. The fourth is the least relevant. The first is the most relevant. Ma paleshu kadachana. No deservership. We act to know our vastness. We act to prepare ourselves for jnana yoga. When we act, we enter into a self-reward system. We are not insistent, we're not even interested in what could come in terms of deserving from our actions. This is a new dimension of meaning when one lives by no deservership. This is natural. And most relevant, karmanyevadhikaraste, yes, responsibility, or yes to being responsible. This is your right. And when you follow your right, you are facilitating the rights of all. If everyone was a responsible driver, driving would be more of a pleasant experience, correct? If everyone focused on welfare, then everyone would have equal opportunities. But it is the irresponsibility of some that prevents the rights of others. This right to our responsibility is an expression of seva or service. Fundamental service keeps our ego in check because fundamental service is where I identify with you more, with society more, with humanity more. See how this is a building block to vastness. If I keep expanding my identification, eventually I identify with infinity. Jnana becomes real with karma. Sheila and I were discussing satsang of late, and I was sharing with her the only subject that anyone should ever talk about is sadhana. That is a means to the ends. If you're not discussing the means, then you're never going to reach the ends. Yet sadhana is quite personal. What you do, what I do, this is not to be broadcasted. So what should one be discussing then? Seva. That's all one should be discussing. What else is there to discuss? All that is not service is not going to help us be at the ends. We continue with our constant review, verse 48. Yogastha kuru karmani. In your karma, infuse this with yoga. The word that we've been associating with karma yoga is kartavya karma. Another word that will come soon is nitya karma, or regular responsibilities. In your regular responsibilities, infuse meaning. If you do, you will be cheerful. When being cheerful is natural, this helps one to feel one's nature, which is contentment. Every regular responsibility, even sleep, have a new feeling towards the importance of sleep. Then you will not sleep more. Many of you are thinking, perfect, we'll sleep more. Conversely, you'll sleep the right amount then. Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya, Prince Arjuna, as you're infusing meaning in your action, whatever results come from this, there is no need to be attached to this. There's no need to depend on this. What Puja Guruji had shared about Sri Rama, another highlight of his personality, is he worked with what was available to him. Just think about how he lived in the jungle. He worked with those materials. When he needed help, he worked with the beings in the jungle, correct? The bears, the monkeys. How did they build a bridge? With a cement mixer. They used boulders and trees. When we work with such a attitude, where I'm happy that I have the opportunity to engage in work, then one inhibits being a workaholic. Remember I shared with all of you that almost 1 million people a year die due to being overworked. Some choose that. I know many young adults and evolving adults who work 70, 80, 90 hours a week. And they smile and nod to me, but I can see through that smile and nod that they're not choosing that. They're succumbing to that, and they're 25 and 30 years old. They're only developing the vasana to be a workaholic. A workaholic is one who depends on the results, so slowly they start to depend on the work too, correct? That if they don't do that work, they can't sleep, they can't eat, they feel restless. When we are free from depending on the results, We become free in our action. Swami Chinmayananda has shared, freedom is not freedom from action, it is freedom in action. Heavy psychology course going on, no? In the third quarter, siddha, asiddha, samo bhutva, all of the results that come from your actions equalize this. Our egos make us extrovert. And the more extrovert one is, the more expectations they have. An expression of expectation is labeling. The more extrovert one is, they label success and failure. In other words, they treat that more seriously, correct? But for the one who's less extrovert, they have less expectations. And so labels don't drive them. They don't direct them, and it doesn't drive their mind. Samatvam yoga uchyate. This is what yoga is. Balance. Balance in the results, balance in your actions. Other words for yoga is dharma or yajna. When you're following your dharma, when you're engaged in that which is meaningful, you live in the present more. Those who are results-oriented live in the future more. What comes with the future? Anxiety. What comes with living in the present? You feel the presence of existence, awareness, joy. I'll read a letter to you, not today, but in some time, where a Devi, a seeker of our community, she shares in this letter, when you speak, sometimes I feel you speak too fast. And it's not that I speak too fast. I don't think I do. But what's being shared is so meaningful, and we're not used to it. Politics is not that meaningful. The weather is not that meaningful. Exercise is not that meaningful. Money is not that meaningful. And that's why we keep these recordings up for 24 hours. Go through the recordings because these details are life-changing. Verse 49. Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanamanviksha kripanah palahetavaha. Durena hi avaram karma. Acting without meaning is far lower. There has to be a comparison compared to buddhi yoga, compared to acting with meaning. Dhananjaya, another name for Prince Arjuna. Buddhi yoga is another reference for karma yoga, which is another reference for dharma. It is understanding. Buddhi here means understanding. Understanding the purpose of action. More important than the action is the attitude. And what's lovely about this is this becomes universal then. I may have a weak body, so I can't act a lot, but if everything I do as service, then I will evolve. If you reference the Ramayana, Devi Shabari, this old illiterate woman, how everything she did for Sri Rama. Yes, there's many more capable beings who are physically stronger or mentally more focused, but he loved her because she loved him. And one more insight, we'll continue with this verse tomorrow. Understanding the purpose of action. Many of us engage in rituals, and I mean that with an idol, with an icon. When you engage in that ritual, do you feel closer to that presence? If you do, you're engaged in what you're doing with understanding. If you don't, that is an inefficient way to act. There is no economization of efforts. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was every time you used a label that you had to put a label on yourself. I don't see a lot of marks on your faces right now, which tells me that all of yesterday you used no labels, which means you're highly introvert, living in the presence. Yes? How come you're all smiling now? Am I telling a joke right now? Our labels keep on changing. And the more you focus on labels, the more lost you get in functionality, in acting instead of attitude. Forget about labels. Your application for right now, I want you to reflect on your entire life, especially your more recent life. Do you feel that you have ever received an experience that you didn't deserve? Reflect on, have you ever gotten anything that you didn't deserve? Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.